Hello everybody, Lord Almighty here. So if you guys happen to see the last video I posted, you know what I've been up to the past 3 weeks. And if you haven't seen the last video I posted, long story short, I bought a cabin on a lake, and it's the most amazing thing I have ever done in my entire life. Now, where that last video was kind of talking about the emotional impact of it and what it means to me personally, I'd like to use this video to go over exactly what this means for this channel going forward, because there are going to be some big changes you guys are going to see. So first and foremost, I am going to be making videos of fishing that pond, as well as the streams and ponds around it in the general area. The plan is to get a boat up there. It's probably not going to be anything grand. It's probably just going to be like a 10 or 12 foot rowboat with a trolling motor on it. It's a small lake, so it's not like you need a really big boat to get around on it and hit all the spots. But that's definitely in progress, and hopefully we'll get that done sometime this year, but there's really no timetable at this point. My kayak is going to be going up to that lake full time. And there's really two reasons for that. One is because that lake is about the perfect size for a kayak. You can probably paddle around the whole thing in less than a couple hours. And that's even with taking a couple of breaks here and there to catch your breath. So the kayak is a perfect sized little vessel for it. Second of all, even though I've only used the kayak a couple of times, I can tell that it's not truly a fishing kayak. There's really not much room in the bottom for any kind of tackle storage or, fishing accessory storage. The rod holders are in a very awkward position, so I can tell that that kayak, even though it was marketed as a fishing kayak, it's not really a fishing kayak. I'm sure I could buy some add-ons and some attachments that would help optimize that kayak for fishing, but I really just don't have the time, the money, or the knowledge to go through that right now. So I'm just going to bring the kayak up to that lake. It's a great knocking around kayak. If you just want to go out and paddle and spend a couple of hours on the water and not have to worry about bringing the boat out and charging the battery, getting the motor and all that. It's a nice little thing to have just for having a fun day out on the water. So I think that lake is the perfect place for that little kayak. Now we probably get to what is the most important aspect of this whole cabin purchase. I had to take out a second mortgage so that I could buy it, which essentially means I am broke. I have enough money to make all my mortgage payments and pay for my utilities and the day-to-day expenses, food, gas, things like that. That's not going to be a problem. But I am not going to have a whole lot of disposable income after all is said and done. So the guided fishing trips that I take, 4 or 5 of them every year, those are going to stop. I just can't afford to go on those trips and pay my bills at the same time. So if you enjoyed watching the videos where I went up to the Delaware, or up to Cooperstown, or out to the Susquehanna, I'm sorry, but those are just going to have to stop. I won't be able to fit them into my budget. All those guided trips are essentially going to be replaced by me going up to the cabin. And that's pretty much where I'm going to be spending the majority of my free time and my vacation time going forward. Because, like I said in the previous video, it's the one place I always wanted to be, and now I get to go up there whenever I want, and that's all I could ever ask for. So, yeah, it was tough giving up those guided trips because they were a lot of fun. Always caught a lot of fish and made some great videos out of it. But I knew going into this that I would have to make some sacrifices financially, and that was unfortunately one of the first things that had to go. So again, if you enjoyed those trips, I apologize. But what I've lost in those guided fishing trips, I've gained in having my own place to have my own kind of self-scripted adventures. So it's going to be a little bit more organic going forward, and I know a lot of you guys appreciate stuff like that. One last thing I would like to address. some people are going to ask about it. A few people already have. I will not be naming the exact name or location of the pond where I have the cabin. And the reason is because it is a public body of water. If this was a private lake that could only be fished by the residents, then it wouldn't matter if you knew where it was, because you wouldn't be able to fish it anyway. But it is public, it's run by the State Fish and Boat Commission. All the locals already know about it. Of course, all of the people who live on the lake already know about it and fish it. And since it is kind of a small lake, I just don't think it would be able to handle a ton more fishing pressure than it already gets. If you happen to figure out where that lake is and you decide that you want to go fish it, all I ask is that you be respectful of the lake and the people who live on it, and just remember that you're essentially fishing in people's backyards. To me, that lake is absolute paradise, and I would hate to see it ruined by the actions of a handful of people. So just be respectful. So that's it. That's the big announcement. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are excited too. Definitely look forward to some videos coming from the cabin. I don't know when the first one's going to drop. A few loose ends need to be tied up before I really start going up there. And obviously it's a seasonal cabin, so it's not like I can go up there during the winter time. My target date is like beginning of May to really start hitting the ground running up there with doing some fishing and making some videos. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next adventure.